little bit more debate to go. Well, it's a little bit disappointing that the session ends as it began with some really partisan antics on the floor. But that shouldn't obscure that it was a good day. We got some good bipartisan work done. The state government finance bill, for example, we've been working over the last 24 hours to get a military voting provision into House rules at the request of the Republicans. And so I think we need more of that and less of this. And hopefully over the next couple of days, we'll see some of the kind of work that happened earlier today to help to close up these bills. We've got a schedule tomorrow to start meeting with different groups of folks at 1 p.m. and going all the way through 6. That's what the schedule has on it now. We'll add people later in the evening as needed, and then certainly on Wednesday we'll be meeting again as well. We've given all of the groups that are not done until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st, to finish up their work. And hopefully at that point leadership doesn't need to take any bills from people. But hopefully we can give them suggestions that might help them close things up.
Did you have a heads up on this? What's going on here right now, and why are they doing this when this has been a bill for a week and a half? The Senate passed this.
I think it's disappointing. I really think we had a good day of work. Leader Damath and I were texting with Leader Murphy at 1 a.m. last night. We spent the last 24 hours, Democrats kind of bending over backward to accommodate a Republican request. So it doesn't seem like the right way to cap off a period of time when we've been starting to work together really well. I think some of these bills came together really well. State government finance is a good example. Environment's getting really, really close. Higher ed, you see, is done. And so we got to get on the train of working together, getting things done, and save kind of the partisan pot shots for when we're in campaign season again.
So a special session no sooner than Wednesday, because you're going to give all of your members time to figure it out then.
The hope would be that all the bills are wrapped by Wednesday at 5. The earliest a special session then would start would be Thursday. But more realistically, probably the earliest a special session would happen would be Friday. Just at the pace people are going. Taxes and E12 really haven't started yet because the Senate didn't pass a bill, and we didn't pass a bill in the case of taxes, so they're really starting totally from scratch.
How much is the immigrant Minnesota care issue going to factor into these final negotiations, would you say?
Well, that was unfortunately the linchpin for Republicans in the budget deal, right? They've made it very clear that they weren't leaving the session without it, and we couldn't have a budget completed for the state of Minnesota without agreeing to that concession for them. And so that is in the agreement that we have reached. Certainly you've seen from Democratic members how inhumane they believe this concession that the Republicans wanted is, and that there's a lot of conversation still going on to try to convince Republicans to have a change of heart and look at people as people and not people as whether they're documented or undocumented.
How long do you think a special session might last if you get started Thursday or Friday?
Well, an agreement would limit the special session. It depends if we get participation of Senator Mark Johnson in the special session agreement or not. Republicans in the Senate would need to agree to suspend the rules to expedite a special session, to not give bills 3 different readings on 3 different days. So it really depends if the Republicans in the Senate want to help things go faster or not.
Is there any
Can you
major?
tell us about what your meeting with Governor Walz was like earlier today? Was it just kind of laying out the special session
Logistics,
plan?
just getting ready for the next 2 days and how we got to get her done.
Is there any major movement today on any of the provisions that were holding things up in any of those conference committees?
Environment got really, really close to finishing. I think they're letting the perfect be the enemy of the good right now, and people are just pushing to get the max when they're not going to be able to get the max. So I think people just need to get realistic and focus in on the budget portions of their agreement. If they can't get agreements on policy, they're going to have to set that stuff aside.
What is the sticking point in the environment bill?
They're talking about permitting. There's some good bipartisan permitting reform language. There's also some really Republican permitting reform language. And we can do some good bipartisan permitting reform language, but we're not going to be doing a one-sided Republican reform package.
I heard a lot of talk about the Inspector General. What's the status of that from your caucus? Because it's had some bipartisan support.
Sure. Well, we debated that when we were setting the budget targets. It was in the other bills category in the Senate spreadsheet, and we negotiated, from April 30th to May 14th. We don't have the $9 million for it. So ultimately, the Senate dropped it from budget negotiations when it was clear we didn't have the money for it. And Republicans in the House and Democrats in the House agreed we do not have the money for the OIG proposal right now.
How's the power sharing agreement going?
It's an interesting power sharing agreement, yes.
Well, I mean, do you feel good about it? I mean, how it's worked as you're nearing adjournment here?
That it would take me longer to think about and answer that question.
Can you just
It's been a bumpy road from time to time.
Can you just reflect, and this is perhaps going to yield the same answer, but reflect on the uniqueness of this session with it being the closest it has ever been between both chambers, 100 Republicans and 101 Democrats?
Well, the opportunity is to really be bipartisan. The opportunity is to team up and work together and to kind of step out of that normal Democrat versus Republican frame. Unfortunately, some people haven't accepted that invitation, so we're doing it kind of the old-fashioned way, which is a little bit disappointing to me because I thought it might be a different kind of session, and a little bit it's the same partisan baloney that we see often.
You set a deadline of 5 o'clock tomorrow. You used the word "we." Who's we?
5 o'clock Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday, sorry.
Governor, Senate leader, and 2 House leaders.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Can we infer that means Thursday's absolutely going to be the day that a special session is called?
No, I think it'd be more realistic to think it'd be Friday. It would be more realistic, really, to think it's probably, unless people start working a lot faster than they are right now, it's looking like between May 27th and the end of that week.
Would you guys consider going over Memorial Day weekend?
I think that'd be highly unlikely, but you never know. My
asking for
attitude,
myself.
what I said in the meeting with the other leaders today is that if their work isn't finished, they should have to work over the weekend. And so should we. So all of the leaders committed to being available for waterboarding the undone committees over the Memorial Day weekend. I shouldn't joke about waterboarding. It's late.
So would you?
I mean metaphorically, not literally.
Not literally.
So are you saying that Minnesota Care for Undocumented Immigrants is still somewhat of an open question?
Oh, certainly Democrats until the last gavel drops on the last minute of passing a budget for the state of Minnesota. Democrats are going to keep fighting to try to get Republicans to relent on that demand, yes.
Will you
And
be
if
voting?
they don't, then you're gonna have caucus, some of your caucus is gonna put up the votes, and have they given you, is your caucus gonna put up some of the votes, and have they given you any assurances, Republicans, that they're gonna put up enough votes to pass?
Well, it's a lot easier in the House, right? Representative Damon needs 34, I need 34. It's a whole different deal in the Senate. But where we stand is we have a budget agreement. All of the leaders have signed it. I expect that all of the leaders will live up to the budget agreement. And we will certainly keep pushing to peel that provision out and try to get Republicans to be happy without kicking undocumented Minnesotans off of Minnesota Care. But we do have an agreement, and worst case, that's what we'll enact.
If it came down to uphold that agreement?
Yes, we made an agreement, and we need to get it passed. People in Minnesota deserve a budget. There's a lot of people on Minnesota Care, and they all deserve to have Minnesota Care funded. So our caucus is not going to be standing in the way of funding state government.
If you were going to be the one vote, would you be worried about any challenges to your leadership of the
No.
House DFL?
Is the immigrant bill gonna, the health care bill, is that gonna come up separately?
We don't know yet. We haven't, we're meeting with health people tomorrow, I think late afternoon, after energy and environment and transpo and commerce. So we'll probably have that conversation. Okay?
Thank you.
See you.